So you're looking at some stunning pictures of the Alps, and a question pops into your head. Can I, as a US citizen, just buy a house in Switzerland? Right? It's a super common misconception. People often think that if you just have enough capital, you can browse the Swiss real estate market, wire the money, and pick up the keys to your brand new mountain retreat. But as we're about to see, the strict reality of Swiss law paints a totally different picture. Things like your citizenship, your residency status, and even the type of building you want to buy actually dictate whether that purchase is a straightforward transaction or, honestly, a legal impossibility.
Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to completely demystify the rules, the regulations, and the real-world reality of acquiring property in Switzerland as a foreign national. So if you want the unfiltered facts about navigating this notoriously complex market, you are in exactly the right place.
Here's the roadmap we'll be following today. First, buying property in Switzerland. Second, the Lex Koller Explained. Third, residential versus commercial space. Fourth, status and important proofs. Fifth, your step-by-step guide. And finally, the final purchase checklist.
All right, Section 1, buying property in Switzerland.
I really want to let this sink in first. The mere purchase does not grant a residence permit. I literally cannot emphasize this enough. Buying a property is absolutely not a golden ticket to actually live in Switzerland. You know, sometimes people assume that dropping a ton of money on real estate automatically hands them a visa, like it does in a few other countries. But in Switzerland, those two concepts are entirely disconnected. You could, theoretically, be allowed to buy a little holiday home, but that absolute fact gives you zero leverage in getting a permit to reside there full-time.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Lex Koller Explained.
If you take away just one single phrase from this entire explainer, make it the Lex Koller. What is it? It's the central Swiss federal law that heavily restricts the acquisition of real estate by foreign nationals. But why? Well, the crucial point is that it exists to protect the Swiss housing market from speculative buying. Think about it. Switzerland has a very limited amount of buildable land. They want to ensure that the housing market actually serves the people who live and work there, rather than just turning into a speculative playground for international investors. And as a U.S. citizen without Swiss residency, you fall squarely under the heavy restrictions of this law.
Let's look at how this applies in Section 3, residential versus commercial space.
I want you to draw a mental picture for a second. Imagine a really cozy wooden alpine chalet, or maybe an empty plot of land with stunning mountain views. Those are residential properties, and under Lex Koller, they are highly restricted. Buying one usually requires a special permit, and you're only going to get that under very narrow, exceptional circumstances. Now contrast that chalet with a sleek, modern glass storefront, or maybe a manufacturing warehouse. Those are commercial properties, and the rules here completely flip. If a commercial property is used for actual business operations, it's generally acquirable by a U.S. citizen without needing any of those strict permits. Basically, the Swiss government wants to encourage business, but they fiercely protect residential living space.
Which brings us to Section 4, status and important proofs. Now, what's really interesting about this rule is the permit pivot. If you're a U.S. citizen, but you already live in Switzerland and you hold what's called a C permit, which is their settlement permit, the game completely changes. Having a C permit essentially equates foreign buyers with Swiss citizens when it comes to real estate. If you have this status, you bypass the Lex Koller restrictions entirely. You can just go ahead and buy that residential home without needing the special permits that a non-resident would be fighting for. It is a massive advantage.
But what if you don't have a C permit? Well, this puts you in a highly scrutinized position. If you're trying to buy residential property without that settlement permit, you have to prove your case to the cantons. Those are the regional Swiss states that actually process these transactions, and they will demand specific documents. First, you need to show your valid resident status. Second, and this is huge, you need hard proof of genuine residency. You can't just casually claim you live there, you have to prove your actual center of life is in that specific Swiss location. And third, you must clearly document the intended use of the property. If the canton even suspects you're buying it just to flip it or as a hidden holiday home, your application is going to get denied, no question.
All right, let's get practical. Section 5, your step-by-step guide.
Let's move to a timeline and see how this builds into an actionable strategy. Step 1, check your status before you even think about purchasing. Are you a non-resident U.S. citizen, or do you have that magic C permit? Because that dictates your entire path. Step 2, clarify the rules based on the property type. Are we talking a commercial storefront or a residential chalet? Step 3, check the permit requirement directly with the canton where the property is located. This is absolutely critical. While Lex Koller is a federal law, the cantons are the ones practically examining and authorizing these buys. So what flies in one canton might be strictly forbidden in the next town over. They hold the ultimate power here.
Let's wrap this up in Section 6, the final purchase checklist.
And this brilliantly illustrates everything we've talked about into a simple checklist you can use right now. If you're eyeing Swiss property, ask yourself these 4 questions. First, does the purchase fall under the Lex Koller? Second, do I possess a C permit that might exempt me? Third, what is the exact nature of the space, residential or commercial? And fourth, have I met the specific, strict requirements of the local canton? If you can confidently answer those 4 questions based on what we've covered, you've got a fantastic grasp on the foundational mechanics of the Swiss real estate market.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, we've clearly seen that buying a home in Switzerland without a C permit isn't just wiring funds and signing a paper. It's a rigorous legal process designed to protect local housing. So I leave you with this. Is the dream of a Swiss home worth the intense bureaucratic preparation required? Honestly, it definitely can be, but only for those who are willing to respect the rules and dive deep into the specific laws of their chosen canton. I highly encourage you to go look closely at the local regulations of whatever region you're dreaming about. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.